Difference in society deals with disagreements with one another and the contrast between social groups. In The Donkey Prince, there is a stark difference between the royals and the donkeys. However, the queen saw past these differences and was willing to help them. This shows that in society, despite many differences between social groups, there are people in the world willing to see past that. The queen exclaims, "What can I do to help? There must be something." The queen wanted to help them for the wrongs that had been committed against them by the king. Cooperation can either be indirect or direct. In the case of the Donkey Prince, the queen utilizes direct cooperation. She agrees to help out the brown men of the hills by raising one of them as her own. By doing so, the donkey was turned back into a human, as well as the rest of them, by a prophecy. In the text, the parliament says, "Would you bring up one of our children as your own, in your own palace, as a prince among men?" And the queen agrees. He shall live in the royal nursery and grow up as a prince. Conflict is when a situation arrives and begins to put a strain on society. In The Donkey Prince, the queen falls magically ill from losing a magic apple which kept her beautiful and healthy. However, once she lost the apple, the color faded from her face, and besides losing her looks, she became so ill. The conflict starts when the king and the prince have to stop everything to retrieve the apple. The kingdom is now worried that they can't find any source of medicine to revive the queen, since physicians and surgeons came from many neighboring countries to find a cure for her, but nothing seemed to work. Now the prince went out by himself by the high road out of the kingdom to look for the savage mountains to find the missing apple, since it's the only thing that will help the queen back up on her feet. Likeliness is one of the qualities that members of societies look for because it creates a bond. The queen wanted the people in her society to be happy and not feel pain for what the kingdom has done to them, so she wanted to repay them by helping the donkeys so that they could turn back into the brown men of the hills. The donkeys liked her because she listened to their story and was able to fulfill their requests. When the queen went for a walk in the mountains, she came across a donkey who asked for her apple. However, she was unable to give the donkey her apple because it was a gift from her father. After the queen heard about the struggle the donkeys went through, the queen decided to help the donkeys by bringing up one of our children as your own, in your own palace, as a prince among men, as an apology for what the king had done to them.
Created using Powtoon.